We're continuing the series Fate and Delusion versus Separation and Imagination. This is the Aries North Node, which is awesome because we're currently in the North Node in Aries, or otherwise known as Rahu in Aries, or Rahu in the first house, or North Node in the first house. Aries is a magical sign. The best way you can always remember in Aries is it is a 0 to 2-year-old baby. And during that stage, you're learning and discovering how to take care of yourself, much like this Rahu or North Node in Aries axis. So when you have Rahu in the first house, this mystical dragon head that has no knowledge of whatever comes with it or behind it, which is going to be Libra in the South Node, or Ketu in Libra. We're all about self-discovery. And the organ that we tied with this is going to be the kidneys. Why? Because Libra is the kidneys. So while I'm recording this, it's actually a Libra eclipse. It's a lunar full moon. So a closing, a grand closing. And the kidneys, being Libra, aka our past node, is going to carry a lot of fear. The emotion related to the kidneys is fear. And fear in our judgment of others telling us who we are, and then we identify with what others see within us, what others see is special about us. And this is where you're going to fail in the North Node, especially if you carry this fear. So you could join our eclipse event if you catch this in time, and you'll be able to learn how to get the fear and the insecurity and the aloofness and having a weak willpower out of the kidneys. I'm going to show you the kidneys up on screen as well. Or if not that, you can catch this on replay and join our membership, because we're going to also be doing this particular axis in our membership this coming Sunday. So if you catch this later, then you'll have the replays and you'll have the events and stuff like that, and you'll learn things. Make comments down below. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the Fate and Delusion versus Separation and Imagination. Okay, understand that what is important about this North Node, okay, is, and I have some of my notes from the membership meeting that we're going to be doing. You don't decide, you just do. And this is one of the key headlines that we're going through. You don't decide what you're going to do, and you also don't share your decisions with other people. Ketu in Libra, or the South Node in Libra, okay, or the South Node in the 7th house, is all about telling other people in your past life what to do. This is the housewife or the secretary who has to pass information to one politician, to the ambassador, and do email faxing to another secretary who works for a different politician or sheik. And this is where information is sharing, and you have to continuously push that information out like cardinal air of Libra, okay, forcing it forward, outward. And it's a continuous away from the center of your own identity, meaning your identity is tied in with everybody with Libra in the South Node. So Aries in the North Node, your identity is about you discovering for yourself who you are. And the hardest thing to do is feel safe and trust your instinct. But Rahu in Aries, it will only reward you if you trust your instinct, if you trust yourself, if you trust your own gut. And you do so in the way of a 0 to 2-year-old baby. Because a 0 to 2-year-old baby doesn't think about it has to pee. It just poops in its pants. A 0 to 2-year-old baby doesn't think about, should I cry now to tell my mom that I'm hungry? It just cries, and mom says, it's feeding time. So these are one of the headlines. Self-discovery is huge. Now, other than that, it's also about learning when you are being reactionary to when somebody else is taking care of themselves. The North Node in Aries, or North Node in the first house, is a symbol of reactionary moments and anger and rage and frustration. When somebody else takes care of themselves and you find yourself getting angry about that, it's telling you that you're off track. Okay, it's telling you that it's time to be a little more selfish, because in your past life, Ketu in Libra, you didn't know how to be very selfish, because your entire identity was on the clan or your immediate environment with all the other housewives, because this is housewife type energy. This is householder energy. Okay, this is, I don't know who I am without my husband. I don't know who I am without my wife. And the North Node is about every relationship. I'm going to continue to attract people that I cannot depend on, because in your past life you could depend on that center. But in this life, first house in Rahu, you have to depend on yourself. You have to become your own center. And only when you do that in your relationships and love and partnerships will you start to attract another dependable partner who has also found their own center. So we're currently in this transit right now, in 2024 at least, with the North Node in Aries. Okay? Rahu was in Aries the last year prior because Vedic is 1 year behind with the North Node and Rahu Ketu's axis. But with that said, this is a time where when you had that ignition, when you had that excitement, you got to jump on it with pure impulse. And that impulse to other people will likely be judged as impulsive or stupid or, you're being too quick. But the reality is we have to do that because we don't know how and who we truly are.
How other people's feedback, input, advice. And so this is a North Node where your past life, the majority of your wisdom and experience comes from the advice of everyone else in your environment. And the problem is you're never going to find your own style. You're not going to gain the traction and have other people find you attractive, which is one of the gifts of this North Node in the first house, which is Rahu in the first house. You're very attractive, but you're only attractive when you're doing something unique to you. So if that's wearing a red bandana on your head that is made out of a material that no one else in your community wears, then that's what it's about. Because the first house is about that appearance, but as well as your personality. And part of your personality is shaped and formed by the clothing that you wear. So in your past life in Libra and Ketu, you have a lot of fashion designs that everyone else thinks is cool. And when you go for the first house, you're going to get resistance when you try to find your own cool identity, personality, persona, style. And so as I move forward, the thing is, you can't change based off of the approval of other people right now. The first house, around the first house, will look at, well, what does other people need to feel like this is worthy of X, Y, and Z? And there's going to be a lot of social values that's going to try to restrain you, especially the ones in your personal environment. And they likely will be something where you'll try to manipulate others if they don't approve and get your way, but in a sneaky way. And with this North Node axis, you're going to always find that backtracking. And it's always going to bring you back 7 steps, even if you think you got ahead 3 steps prior. Okay? So other than that, this is where a lot of breach of trust comes around, because 0 to a baby, they're learning a basic sense of trust with themselves. And they actually gain that trust by when they do something that makes them feel like they have a sense of vitality, joy, and personal satisfaction in life. If their parents respond well, then they become very, very confident Aries energies. But when their parents don't respond well, Aries starts to become very insecure. And this is going to be you feeding your past life with Libra and the South Node. So we got to watch out for that, especially with this eclipse coming. This is a grand closing. We're going to be doing angelic Reiki to close out these habits of everything I just said, so that you can start to honor your true self. Okay? Now, that breach of trust also comes when you're just not being real and authentic for yourself. South Node in Libra, Ketu in Libra, is the kind of energy of fake it until you make it. And that works with Ketu in the 7th house, or South Node in the 7th house. That does not work. It's be real to attract real with Rahu in the 1st house, North Node in the 1st house. You gotta be real to attract real. You gotta show your true self without any inhibitions. And then others will be receptive to that. And you'll start to attract people who are dependable. Otherwise, you will attract people who you cannot depend on, and you will get angry. All right. So the last thing I have for another headline as I move forward into the affirmations and the self-reflections is false harmony. So this axis really doesn't know how to choose itself. It's supposed to trust itself. It's rewarded when it trusts itself and its intuition, as well as its instinct, its impulse, its first initial action. But what you'll find with this axis is you'll have a lot of false harmony. And one of the ways you can combat this and basically not choose the other person, which is what you're used to in your past life, or what you're used to as a secretary or a housewife, to choose your husband. Well, my husband's working 70 hours and I'm the housewife, so let me just do a little extra work around the house. Let me just take care of the kids and feed them. Let me just go do the extra grocery shopping. And by supporting that wife, you'll find a sense of security within yourself. And it's a, you scratch my back, I scratch your back. But with this particular axis, it's about, you can't accept false harmony. I need to scratch my own back. And I need you to be able to scratch your own back. And if we scratch our back together, 1 + 1 = 3. But in your past life, 1 + 1 = 1. And so in this sense, when you take care of yourself, when you nurture yourself and recognize the reflections and projections that others expect of you, and instead choose yourself, now you get 1 + 1 = 3. And that's one of the magics about this particular placement of Rahu in the first house. Now, one of the last key things, and again, we're doing this in the membership this Sunday, is to actually start to learn to believe that other people outside of you are self-sufficient and that they can win without your support. Because in your past life, no one can win without you contributing and putting in. Whatever your skill was, whatever you added to the social environment, it mattered. But in this life, you have to start believing and trusting that other people can take care of themselves. So in 2024, while the North-South node is in Libra, we have to trust that my partner can take care of herself. My partner can take care of himself. And by doing that, you make more space and time for yourself and to have alone time with yourself and to start loving and nurturing and taking care of your garden. So now, one of the things here is, I'm gonna give one thing from each part of the category in our membership, is learning to depend on yourself, because you're gonna attract people that you can't depend on. Your Achilles heel is trying to play fair all the time, because there's a certain sense of justice in your past life, and well, this is what's fair. And so you get hurt a lot when you try to play fair by the social values of your community and your environment, rather than understanding, well, what's fair to me? Because it's not fair that I pay more if I ate $1 versus $20, or $100 y'all all ate as the group, but I only put $5 in. I pay for, you know what I'm saying? You got to learn what is fair for me and follow that. I talked about your past identity. It's very tribal, okay? You live a very luxurious lifestyle, but that luxury was dependent on that breadwinner. It's about learning how to go ahead and find that luxury for yourself in this life. One of the illusions you have is that when you supply the needs for the group, or for your partner, or for somebody who's significant in your life, that you're going to feel more secure yourself. And that is an absolute illusion. That is fully in your imagination as a part of Ketu. Ketu being a part of our imagination. Our imagination comes from things that we've actually experienced and witnessed and created. And you can't keep repeating that and thinking that something's going to change. Okay, one of your major needs is learning how to date yourself. If you can go to the movies, go to a restaurant and eat alone, with this particular North Node, while Aries is in the North Node, and just take time to go and take a trip alone, wherever the house is that your Aries is sitting in, or if you have the first house, whatever zodiac it's combined with the first house, try to date yourself with that archetype. Now, one of the best parts about your instincts is you will be rewarded if you lead and you actually become a pioneer and an entrepreneur. So if you're looking at becoming an entrepreneur, check out our 8-week Sacred Innovators Reality. All right, that's a free registration, and when you fill out that survey, it'll help you and help us. March 23rd, 2024, we're going to start that sacred initiation. We're going to teach you how to be an entrepreneur. So if entrepreneurship is your thing, we got something for you, okay? If community is your thing, we got something for you being membership. If one-time thing is your thing, we got the Eclipse event. It's coming up, and there's always workshops one-on-one, just one-time workshops. Now, one of your superpowers, other than social mannerisms, because I want to kind of skip that, is to follow the things that energize you. Now, the thing about the North Node in Aries is, or North Node Rahu in the first house is, you often won't know what energizes you because you have to focus on self-discovery like a baby. A baby has to be born and discover, do I actually enjoy this? So they don't know they enjoy this without following that impulse first. And then what you'll know is you'll start feeling more joyful and have a tremendous amount of vitality after you follow the impulse. And that's how you're going to know what energizes you. But otherwise, you don't know what energizes you because you only felt energized by what energized your partner. So when your partner was energized, you were energized. But that's not going to work for you in this life. You have to discover that first, meaning you don't know it. All right? So the last thing that I find before we get to the affirmation self-reflection is you have to take care of your physical body. You have to get strong in this life because there's not enough strength, all right, in this physical body. At the first house, you're coming, in a sense, kind of, prior to the 12th house in this, mystical water, immutable nothingness, this being born for the first time. You have to grow strong. You have to feed yourself well. You have to, this is a lot very closely linked to Virgo in the North Node. We did that series, so check that out. If you have Virgo North Node or Virgo in the 6th house, we did that. And that's that. But take care of your physical body. This is going to give you the courage and the bravery, because understand that though the North Node's in the first house of Aries, you have to grow in that courage and that bravery and that strength and take passionate efforts towards yourself. You don't start off being a superpower, but you'll be always rewarded for it. That's what Rahu will promise. Now, one of the affirmations I have for you is, I moderate being Mr. Nice Guy or Mrs. Nice Guy, and I learn to be kind with myself first. Okay, because this is a Mr. Nice Guy, Mrs. Nice Guy axis, and being nice in your past life, a lot of this was linked to manipulation. Okay, because you had to be nice to somebody else, and you had an ulterior motive with it, and that's the thing behind Libra and the South Node. And that wasn't bad in your last life, because everybody had ulterior motive, but it all works for each other. In this life, you can't be a Mr. Nice Guy with an ulterior motive. It's not going to work. It's going to backfire. So you have, this is one of the affirmations that I have for you. I moderate being nice and learn to be kind with myself first. Bam. The approval of others isn't needed to enjoy myself. That's another affirmation. The approval of others isn't needed to enjoy myself, because in your past life, it was. Now, one of your self-reflection questions is, do I feel strong after this impulsive distress? Do I feel stronger after this impulsive action? So you took an impulsive action, great. Now you ask yourself in reflection, do I feel stronger as a result of this? Or something different? Do I feel sleazy? You'll know. And if you feel stronger, this is a good indication that you're on track as a self-reflection. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the kidneys, I drop a picture up on screen. I want to give you one little exercise on the kidneys. If you look right here on your knuckle, how do I do this? Right in between these two fingers, you'll feel a little dent and a divot, okay? This is going to be the size in the shape of a kidney. What you can do is you can actually put a kidney bean right here. I don't have a kidney bean, but you can put a kidney bean right here, the shape of the kidney. It'll fit perfectly in this knuckle. You can press down soft and hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and never release quickly. Slowly release that finger, and then slowly press down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release and slowly. This, if you have a kidney deficiency, which is going to actually decrease your life expectancy, because Libra is what is beauty. Beauty is a part of what? Aging. Aging is what destroys beauty. This actually will help you live longer and I can't say restore, but it will preserve your life force energy or your life essence. In Chinese medicine, it is called Jing. J-I-N-G. Jing. So again, we're learning more about this at our membership. We're always doing practical things and showing you different things, like being able to take a moment to beat on your kidneys or just rub on them. You can check my Instagram. I just recently put out something about that, how to take care of the kidneys. And that said, this is what I have for you. All right, we have plenty more exercises. Check out our eclipse event. That's the main thing that I can help with you in closing karmic doors, relationship doors, doors with fears that you have, doors with weak willpower and having a weak identity based on somebody else's perception and judgment, or other things like being overly aloof and deciding not to pursue your own career, not to pioneer, not to lead, not to do what Rahu in the first house wants, or Rahu and Ketu wants. All right, this is your astro sign, Pernell Bobby, inspiring brilliance, asking you to hit the thumbs up and the likes button. I want to say, thank you for being here. I love you and I appreciate you so much. I'll see you soon. Check out this if you do want to be an entrepreneur. We're going to be running this, or you can catch the next retreat workshop when we do it. I'll see you soon. I love you for hitting that thumbs up and just being here.